welcome from the Dottie Hawkins Gym in Pekin. It's finally that time, playoff time for high school basketball in Central Illinois. We open our 2024 playoff broadcast coverage with a 4A regional semifinals of Normal Community Ironman, the Normal West Wildcats live on ClutchSportsIL.com. Glad you're with us. I'm Jonathan Michael alongside Harvey Newcomb. Harvey, it's a great way to start off the playoffs and a crosstown rivalry. They both teams travel up here to Pekin to play.
Right. I mean, both teams are very familiar with each other, facing off many times over the years. Coaches developing a relationship with each other as well. These teams have definitely done their fair share of scouting, I would say. But both teams coming into this game, you could say in different directions, but it is playoff basketball, not just basketball after all, and that's what's so great about basketball. On any given day, any given team can win the game.
Certainly, Normal Community Ironman, the top seed in the Pekin Regional, number 6 team in the state. Normal West controls the tip-off. They've been playing hot lately. They've won their last 3. So a good time to be the Wildcats as they turn it over on the first possession. Started a couple minutes early on. We'll get you the starting lineups here for Normal Community. They're starting at 5. Includes Olivia Corson, the star senior guard, as there is a layup attempt from Allie Rustmeyer that just fell off the mark. She's in that group alongside Allie Incy, the Oregon track commit, a senior guard. They're also joined by Kenna Malinowski, a senior guard, and Raina Powers, a junior guard as well. Normal West tries to get the first bucket with Haley Upton, and it's off the mark. Their starting 5 is DeGina Smith, the junior guard, and Upton, who we just mentioned. 3 ball on the way from Rustmeyer is no good. Avery Dodge, Meredith Birchie, and Olivia Patton make up Normal West starting 5. And the Lady Iron draw a charge there. Looks like that may have been Rustmeyer who drew it.
And Rustmeyer, way to put her body on the line. Great awareness, realizing that she was going to be taking some physical contact there, set her feet just in time. She managed to stay outside of the restricted area as well, and was able to take the charge.
Normal Community breaking the press 2-on-1. Here's Malinowski. She's a star swimmer for Normal Community as well. Here's Rustmeyer on the drive and kicks it back out. Still no score in this one in case you're just tuning in. This one got going a little ahead of the scheduled 6 o'clock start time as both teams still warming up to this one. Here's Dodge, kicks it down low with Patton. Loose ball, and Corson comes away with it.
Patton drawing the early double. We see this a lot. Patton, the dominant force inside, often needing to be double or even triple teamed in order to contain her. And it works that time, forcing the turnover. But unfortunately, they're unable to answer.
Yeah, not much time before the broadcast to talk about key players or keys to the game. But what sticks out really is this is going to be a battle of the Olivias. Olivia Patton for Normal West and Olivia Corson for Normal Community. 3 ball on the way from Smith is just a touch too long. And Powers brings in the board now on the fast break. Good ball moving out to Ince for 3. And still no score. A little over 2 minutes in this one. Fast break opportunity. Here's Avery Dodge who gets it to go. And Normal West gets on the board first.
Dodge, someone who you'd expect to take a lot of shots early, getting onto the scoreboard for Normal West. And Normal West able to stick with it so far. They're playing at a slower tempo, but also very disciplined, willing to get out on the fast break. And there's another one.
And there is a travel there on Upton. I'll bring it back over to Normal Community as the Lady Iron come into this one, like we said, number 6 team in Class 4A. They've made a living in the AP poll just about all season long, looking for back-to-back 30-win seasons. They're certainly a team that can make it to state this year. Here's Ince on the drive. She gets fouled by Patton.
And what's more impressive about Normal Community is not just their record in general of 28-3, but their conference record of 9-1. It's not the easiest conference to play in, but ultimately the conference game's much more important ultimately.
First free throw from Ince rims off, and you said it, Harvey, the Big 12 was very strong this year, especially at the top. Yeah, Peoria Notre Dame, who is just lights out all season long. One of the best teams in the state. It's the first put on the board for the Lady Iron. And, you also have, obviously Normal Community. Richwoods had a very good season. You also had Bloomington. They had a pretty strong year. We saw the Purple Raiders face off against the Wildcats back in December. That was a fun one.
Definitely came down to the wire. Pretty packed gym as well.
Nice steal there by Lester, and it results in a easy Normal Community bucket. That one coming from Corson.
Turnovers are going to be a very important part of this game, John. Whoever can win the turnover battle will likely have the advantage. Just keeping control of the ball, having those crisp, clean passes, and good ball movement. Saw Patton fumble that one a little bit. She's able to get by.
Nice shot fake from the senior, and she gets by, puts Normal Community back up on top. Another team that we forgot to mention, the Big 12, that is very good this year, Peoria High. Even without Aaliyah Guyton, they were very strong. As Rustemeyer similarly goes up strong and she gets fouled.
A lot of fouling in the early going of this game by Normal West. They're going to have to watch out for that as the first quarter ticks down, because we've seen the bonus be very important in not just the fourth quarter, but in the first three as well.
Certainly, that's 3 fouls for Normal West at the moment. Rustemeyer's first free throw bounces off. Normal West comes into this one 10-18, but a pretty respectable mark in conference play at 5-5. Rustemeyer's second free throw hits the back iron, but there's Ince with the rebound. She'll kick it back over to Rustemeyer. And Lady Iron will reset. Here's Amia Lester into the game now. She had that steal on that last possession. 3 ball on the way from Powers, no good. Offensive board brought in, a third chance. Corson off the mark, who's got it. It's a tie-up, and the possession arrow favors the Lady Iron.
Boxing out, very important at every level in basketball, especially high school. You see Normal Community able to box out and get those offensive rebounds. It's really just a matter of who wants it more.
It really is. Like we said in the playoffs, there are no do-overs. This will be one of these teams' final games of the season. One of them will play for a regional title back here on Thursday. Corson's floater was a nice one that bounced off the rim and in. She's got 4 of the Lady Irons' 5.
Corson going straight up against Patton, not afraid to initiate the contact, able to get the easy floater.
Lester just a touch too aggressive on the press play. They'll pick up the first foul of the game for Normal Community. Again, I want to remind you all that this is just game 1 of a 2-game doubleheader, as the inbounds pass goes off the backboard and back to Normal Community. Don't see that too often, but see what the Lady Iron can do here with this extra possession.
I was going to say before that play, give credit to Lester coming off the bench and making an immediate impact. She had a steal and a bucket early, but with that, you got to limit the mental mistakes.
Here's Incy, top of the key, driving in left side. A little bit of contact, but no foul. And Patton brings in the miss. Now here's Birchie with it with a whole head of steam. Kicks it over to Smith. Patton, that's in her range, off the mark, but nearly got it to go off the backboard, I should say.
I mean, it's early in the game. That's the best time to take that shot. Really not too much penalty if you miss, unless they manage to get the 3 of their own.
Powers brings in her own miss. Her layup attempt falls off the mark. Seems to be just some lids on the rims. These aren't bad shots that either team is taking, just haven't got some of them to fall here in the first quarter of play.
Right, both teams are getting into their offensive sets, and that's a smart timeout. Smith was trapped a little bit there.
Timeout called by Darylyn Dunn, the head coach for Normal West in his 3rd year. Hoping to bring Normal West their first regional title since he's been the head coach, but he's done a good job with this Wildcat squad. Journey Johnson will check in for Normal West, but back to a previous talking point again, just the first half of a doubleheader. We'll have Minooka and Pekin coming up after this on a it'll be on our YouTube page and our website. We'll switch over to a different stream, but stay tuned for that. That one should be a fun one. 4-seeded Indians, the 5-seeded Dragons, but early on, this one is turned out to be pretty close battle as well. Community up 5-4 here through the first 5.5 minutes of play.
And don't let the low score fool you in terms of how both of these teams have been playing. They've gotten some good offensive sets going, but both teams have just been playing hard defense. It's a matter of whether the defense is better than the offense overall.
Corson had a chance in transition. Again, just that proverbial lid on the basket still there for Normal Community, although Corson does have 4 of their team's 5. She's the engine of this Lady Iron team. Here's Marco Reynolds, number 4 in white, into the game for the Lady Iron. Now it's Corson in the paint. She'll turn around and spin. Nice layup off the backboard for Corson.
She's just too good. Way too good. You need to bring a second defender to try and make her give up the ball. That's her 3rd that she's gotten in that area with just a one-on-one.
I'll go out of bounds. They'll stay with the Wildcats. Normal West finished 6th in the Big 12 this year. Again, 5-5 conference record. Had some close conference games. We saw, again, that one against Bloomington, just a 1-point affair back at the Robert Frank Gymnasium.
Right, it would have been 4. Patton made a crazy 3 at the very end of the game to beat the
That's
buzzer,
right.
but unfortunately, 3-point shots are not worth 4 points, not in this universe at least.
If there would have been a foul, he could have potentially extended that game and pulled off a win. That one was a thriller. Nice pass up to Rustemeyer. That one, another layup for Community. They're in the lead now, stretches to 5.
Great court awareness, realizing that Rustemeyer was speeding down the floor and hit her right in stride with a pretty pass.
Smith kicks it down low, and the ball was batted around. It will stay with the Wildcats. I love what Normal Community has been able to do on defense. Very active hands. Hasn't been very many easy passes for Normal West so far. Lady Iron making them work for it.
And the passes are good. They're just being telegraphed.
Here's Patton. And her shot is blocked out of bounds. We'll stay with Normal West. Powers back in for Lester. Community comes into the game on a 10-game win streak. The game that started that win streak was a 66-30 win over Normal West back on January 18th. It'll be Smith to inbound. Now it's over to Patton. Now to Journey Johnson again with those different color shoes. One lime green, the other sort of a magenta color. Birchie driving into the lane, finds a wide open hoop, but can't quite finish. And Reynolds got it over to Powers before a travel could be called. Nice job by Community.
Patton did want the travel, or maybe a possible jump ball would have been called. I don't think she had possession of the ball there.
There's Reynolds dropping in a 3, and just like that, 9 straight points for the Lady Iron.
And Community, they've had a lot of open 3 opportunities in this first quarter, and they've taken most of them. And while that's only the first one to fall, that might be a sign of more things to come from the Lady Iron. You see Patton backing down, spin move.
And there's the roll. Haven't gotten many of them for either side, but Patton found the friendly 10 there.
And that's what happens when you don't double-team Patton. She's able to get by you. She's a big, but she's able to put the ball on the floor. She has that court vision.
Reynolds kicks it over to Rustemeyer. Her 3 ball on the way. Bounces out, and there's Patton with the board. She is a double-double threat anytime that she steps on the floor. And she can really shoot the ball as well. She's not just your traditional post player. You got to guard her from behind the three-point line as well.
Right, and Patton also is a versatile defender as well. She's willing to shift out to the perimeter. For example, if she gets switched on to a smaller ball handler, she's able to hold her own.
A key piece for this Normal West team. One of a couple seniors as Smith trying to inbound the ball, and there's some trouble there. It's a turnover. Community blocked away by Journey Johnson. They'll have a chance to get a shot up before the horn with 3. Floater on the way. Nice job by Kylie Wilson. She'll get that one right before the horn. Nice job by the Wildcats to cut it back to 4 after a 9-0 run from the Lady Iron.
And that's a very solid play by Wilson there. She stayed calm, cool, and collected despite the fact that she had only about 6 seconds to get down the court and put a shot up before the buzzer. And despite the fact that Normal West is down by 4, they come out of the first quarter with the momentum. And momentum, you can't measure it but it's very important.
I want to take a quick opportunity to remind you that if you want to advertise with us on Clutch Sports Media, plenty of opportunities available both on the broadcast and social media side. Whether you're located in Peoria or Bloomington Normal, you can take advantage of a very loyal and wide fan base of Central Illinois high school sports. Reach out to us, clutchsportsil@gmail.com, for more information. First quarter in the books here, Class 4A regional semifinal between two crosstown rivals. These two teams have faced off twice this season. Once during the inter-city tournament to start off the year, and then again in conference play. Normal Community took both of those games, but Normal West hanging in through the first 8 minutes here today.
And we have to talk about the coaching history for Dave Feeney for Normal Community. His 12th year total with a record of 229-97. Fourth year with Normal Community at 86-14, leading a great program year after year. A great mentor to these student athletes.
Certainly, he's been at Community for 12 years in total. He had a little stint between 1999 and 2007. Then, after a couple years off, came back. Of course, a nice spin move, and she gets fouled. She'll head to the line for two. We mentioned those fouls by Normal West in the first quarter. They did a good job of cutting down on those in the final 4 or 5 minutes or so. That foul going on Birchie, her second.
And for Corson, that spin move put Normal West off balance a little bit, forcing that foul there. Corson has a bag. That's definitely what I'll say. She has a very sophisticated moveset that she's able to use to get past her defenders and create shot opportunities for herself.
Here's Corson's second free throw. And it's up and rattles in. She's got 7 of Normal Community's 13. Here's that press again from the Lady Iron. Wildcats bring it this time. Now in trouble, though, is Dodge. That's a tough spot to get trapped. You can't go backwards because you're so close to the half-court line, and you're also just kind of in that near corner.
It's almost like Normal West breathing a sigh of relief there that Normal Community actually decided to tip that out rather than going for the clean steal. But they'll have another opportunity at it. But still, heavy defensive pressure from Normal Community.
Floater on the way. That was DeGina Smith. And it was just off the mark. Here's Community the other way. Driving into Rustemeyer. Through some contact and no good.
Looked like she could have been tripped up there, but ultimately basketball is a contact sport.
Especially in the playoffs. There's a 3-ball from Smith. 13-11. Normal West cuts the deficit, and that's Smith's first bucket of the game.
And Normal West first 3 of the game as well. Both the teams having just one made 3-point field goal so far, but that'll probably be sure to change in these upcoming 3 quarters.
Here's Corson in the post again. She can shoot the ball, but she's done most of her work in the paint. Got 9 so far. Here comes the press. West throws it across, but intercepted by Rustemeyer. No numbers. They'll slow things down. Corson steps into a 3. Off the mark, no good. Powers, and we'll get a jump ball. That will stay with Normal Community after the arrow switched after the end of the first quarter.
And there was what I was talking about in the first quarter, those offensive rebounds. As you saw, Powers was able to get that one, surrounded by about 3 or maybe even 4 black jerseys. Forcing the jump ball, though. Good job on Normal West to stay with the play.
Powers inbounds it. Rustemeyer thought about a 3. She'll drive in and kick. Here's Ince on the drive, and she gets fouled by Johnson. Normal West thought that one was pretty close. But Ince will shoot free throws. Community been very aggressive. Almost every one of their possessions is ending in a drive. Lots of drive and kick for them today.
And that wasn't necessarily like that in the first quarter. They were getting a lot of open 3-point shot attempts, and they were taking them, but they weren't falling. So what Feeney did was they switched up their game plan just a little bit, opting to drive to the basket, realizing that Normal West opts to foul just a tad more often. And they've been getting free throw opportunities out of it.
Ince made her first. Her second is also good as well, and she's got 3. Now the press a little bit more relaxed from the Lady Iron. And they brought the double team early, forced a tough pass. It will stay with the Wildcats. See what they can do. They've been shooting the ball pretty decent. See if they try and get the ball in the paint as well. Darylyn Dunn calls another timeout for Normal West. They trail 17-11. Overall, though, I mean, even though you're down on the scoreboard, you gotta like what you're seeing from Normal West. Lots of good things. I think if they can just figure out a way to get past that press, they've been getting some really good looks.
Well, and they're getting past the press, but what's happening is they're using so much of their energy to get past the press that by the time they're in the half-court set, they're maybe not necessarily in the positions that they need to be in order to correctly execute that set play that they might have drawn up. But part of that is getting the ball down to the paint, and if you have Normal Community continuing to bat away those passes, especially the entry ones, down to Patton. And even if you get it to Patton, there's that double team as well. So there's multiple steps that that Normal West needs to get past, that Normal Community is trying to sort of set for them in order to get that bucket. Buckets are not easy in the playoffs.
They certainly are not. It really just becomes a matter of defense. You'll see your fair share of shootouts in the playoffs, but it's not uncommon to see some games end up with very low scores. Speaking of which, Normal Community, their boys team, beat Moline this past weekend. Final score, 31-29. I think we might see a little bit more of the same with that in both maybe the boys and girls playoffs. We'll see.
That's some nice 1950s basketball, John.
Nice tip away by the Lady Iron. It'll give it back to them. Community is led for almost the entirety of this one. West had brief leads right from the jump. But a 9-0 run from the Lady Iron, and there's Corson again. She's in double figures at the 5:48 mark of the second quarter with 11. She's scored as many of the Wildcats herself. Tough pass to Smith, who tried to keep it in bounds. Doan was home.
An unfortunate play there, as it looked like Smith just ran out of real estate there. She had the ball, but her momentum was carrying her out of bounds, so she had to try and save it, but was ultimately unable to get it to a teammate.
Birchie, nice pass up to Upton. Her fast break layup is too strong. Now Incy corrals the board.
Like the idea there, it just didn't fall.
Ince kicks it back out. There's Powers over to Rustemeyer. Rustemeyer looking for a teammate and finds Corson. She'll dial up a 3-ball. Back iron. Who's got the board? Normal West does. Birchie finds Dodge. Johnson kicks it back out. Dodges 3 off the right iron. Now here comes a fast break opportunity from Powers.
Good of Powers to slow it down, realizing that they don't have numbers. While she was downhill, maybe could have taken it to the basket. This ultimately will lead to a higher percentage shot, in my opinion.
Corson thought about the 3, dumps it off. Nice find to Rustemeyer, the open layup. Good ball movement from Normal Community.
Rustemeyer kind of camping there in what's known as the dunker spot. I mean, easily able to kind of dump off that pass to her, and the fundamentals using that backboard well and in the right way to get that bucket. Now they're up by double digits.
Seen a couple more of those layups fall for both teams after the rims weren't too kind to start things out. It seems like they've softened up a little bit as the game's gone along. And, the same way, I mean, usually when you wake up, I'm pretty grouchy. Maybe these rims just had to be woken up a little bit and maybe feeling a little bit better now.
And both of these teams, they've been able to settle down just a little bit as well. Getting that, I always like to say they got the early game jitters. They were able to get that out before it gets too late in the game.
Ince directs the offense. She'll go right. Finds Corson cutting towards the baseline. She finds over to Reynolds, but it bounced off of her hands. It'll go back to Normal West.
That was a really good cut. Could have gone up with it, but ultimately chose not to. Found what would have been a better pass target, but it was just a tad high. But they should try and run that play again. It, to all intents and purposes, worked.
Good pass from Birchie to Dodge in the corner. She's in a bit of trouble, and Ince comes away with a steal. Dodge tried to get that jump ball, but couldn't quite do so. Powers wide open for 3. Too strong. There's Reynolds with the board. Wide open layup and converts.
And Reynolds, very good at boxing out Patton there. And once she was able to get it, she was able to kind of just turn her body and get that layup without much contact, and then also making a play on the defensive end. Reynolds is everywhere on the court right now.
Here's Ince on the drive. She's fouled and count the bucket. Ince will have a chance for a three-point play. Community roaring out to a great start in the first 5 minutes of the second frame.
Community's able to start putting together a good string of offensive possessions. Before, they were struggling to find just a tad of consistency, but now they're getting it. They've made a few buckets in a row, and that free throw capping off the three-point play. All of a sudden, 1 second ago, this was a closer game, and now you blink, and Normal Community's more than doubled Normal West.
A lot of it started with defense. Wildcats have maybe not had quite as many possessions as they wanted to end with a shot. Darylyn Dunn calls another timeout, wants to talk things over, and that's a good timeout from him. You don't want to let those leads get too big. You don't want to let momentum get up too much. You want to try and take some wind out of their sails, and that's what they'll try and do here.
And what Normal Community is doing, they're able to kind of switch between the two slow and fast tempos of play, which makes it so that Normal West has to continue to be on their toes at all times. In one possession, Normal Community, they might play a bit slow, work the ball around, run a play to where they can get an easy shot in the bucket, but then the very next possession they'll be racing down the floor. Able to kind of stop and start is what's a key for the offense, keeping the defense on their toes.
Lady Iron have really thrived playing a fast game. I want to get out in transition. It's led to some good buckets here in the second quarter. We came into the quarter, Lady Iron led 12-8. And since then, it's been a 14-3 run.
And they play fast when it's necessary. That's what I like. They're able to realize when playing fast is not the best option.
Patton, tough pass. Bounce off the leg of Corson. Now Birchie finds Patton. She'll drive in through two defenders, gets fouled. And I like that from Patton. You obviously being raped by two defenders is not an easy shot, but you'll at least get two free throws out of it.
Well, and Patton, obviously with their height advantage on that shot, she can kind of just rise up with her hands and pop it right over the defenders. That was a good shot otherwise, and we see Patton often a foul magnet because she's just able to get to the bucket when she's able to receive that pass. First set of free throws, though, for this game, I believe.
I believe you're right, if I'm not mistaken. Not sure if Normal West may have had some free throws in the first quarter. I'll have to rewind our broadcast and see for certain, but Patton goes 0 for 2 at the line. Here's Lester now, driving in, gets a floater up over Patton, but it bounces off the rim. Nice rebound there from Meredith Birchie. Now here's Patton running the floor, kicks it over to Olivia Coble. Another Olivia to watch. Birchie hops up in the lane, blocked by Corson.
What a great pass from Patton to Birchie, but unfortunately, even better awareness from Normal Community in capping off that great defensive play with a bucket on the other end.
That was Marco Reynolds. She's had a really nice game with 7. Made a living down near the post. Skip pass over to Kylie Wilson, and she's fouled. Just a second foul of the quarter on Community. That one will go on Allie Ince.
Looks like she was trying to get a pass off but got held and was unable to the first time because you kind of saw her try and move the ball forward, and then that's where the foul happened.
Good ball movement, and Ince nearly took it away. She's just all over the place, and especially with her speed. You talk about Normal Community wanting to run. Well, when you have an Oregon track commit on your team, it just really fits. You might as well.
Well, and that also symbolizes that these student athletes are very well-rounded as well.
Yes.
Academically and physically.
Here's Powers on the drive, drew contact, but she'll shoot 2. I have to see who that foul is on. Birchie's got 2. Now that's her 3rd. That's big for Normal West. One of their star seniors got 3 fouls, and she probably will have to sit rest of this half and maybe parts of the third quarter as well as Journey Johnson comes in.
And they are indeed taking out Birchie, but it will probably not be the last we see of her for this game.
Free throw off the mark, and look who's there to bring in the rebound. It's Reynolds. Ince is open in the corner for three, and a little bit too strong there. Here's Journey Johnson, a little stop and go action. Kicks it back away, but turned over. Corson will slow things down. Nearly hit Reynolds in the head with her cross-court pass. Good reaction time from the junior forward.
I mean, that just shows that Normal Community plays every possession with their heads up.
Reynolds' shot couldn't quite find the bottom of the net. She gets the offensive board. Kicks back out. Lester's three on the way, and too much. We'll get a foul on the rebound. That will go on Lady Iron.
Obviously, Community very aggressive on the rebounding, but there gets to be a point when it gets to be a bit too aggressive and maybe you get carried away. You're focusing just a bit too much on the ball, and that's kind of where those loose ball fouls or maybe even over the backs come from. Good on Normal West to draw that foul.
This is a very important final 50 seconds or so for Normal West. They try and get some momentum going into the halftime locker room. Corson's high hands come away with a steal. She'll drive in for the layup, no good. And Wilson brings it in. Lester almost brought in for the Lady Iron. I mean, there's white jerseys everywhere you look.
I mean, they're covering so much ground with every single step and every single pass as well. Normal West, again, it's good passes that they're making, but it's just better defense.
Patton driving in. She'll try and get fouled, and she does. Rustemeyer will draw the call, and Patton will head back to the line for two more free throws.
Patton appearing to hold her finger there. It's not sure quite what happened on the play.
This is a tough collision, but looks like she'll be all right. She'll stay and shoot these two free throws. First one off the back iron. And Hope Farrell, first chance we get to see of the freshman in this one for Normal West. Now into the game, and for the Wildcats, I think you just really want to get a stop here on this possession. Patton converts on her second. Normal Community has stretched a 4-point lead after one into a 17-point lead at the moment. They could get it up as much as 20 depending on what they want to do. Powers has some space, kicks it over. Rustemeyer over to Lester. Rustemeyer's three at the horn, a rainbow, and it's just off to the left. And that will wrap up the first half of action. A big second quarter for the Lady Iron. They outscore the Wildcats 17-4. Take a 29-11 lead into the locker room.
And when Normal West came into that second quarter, it looked like they were ready to keep fighting, and they did, but it's difficult to score when you just can't get up shot attempts, when you kept getting the ball stolen on those passes. Credit to Normal Community for sticking with it and not losing energy. In fact, I think they gained more energy as that quarter went on and able to cap that off 29-12. But it's not over until the buzzer sounds in the fourth quarter, John.
And it's certainly not. Still lots of basketball left to be played. Olivia Corson leads Normal Community with 11 points. Lots of their points have been coming in the paint, Harvey, and that's been, I think, a byproduct of them, controlling the tempo. They've been having some good ball movement. They've been able to get out in transition quite a bit as well.
Right, it's the crisp passing and limiting of turnovers, and it's the off-ball movement as well, not just the on-ball movement. You got players cutting, you got players going out to the wings, you got players cutting in, just a lot of movement everywhere, and that's just all due to coaching. Not all due to coaching, both coaching and players combined. Coach drawing up the play, players executing the play very well.
Certainly a two-way street there, and again, we want to thank all of our great crew helping us out here today. Josh Messenger, our producer, and Michael Savoy over running our camera. Teddy Ball running our social media, taking a couple pictures as well. Also want to let you guys know all about, again, CSM Overtime. More action, more stories. You want to go beyond the broadcast and get to know about Central Illinois sports more on a deeper level, head over to CSM Overtime. Plenty of written content, feature stories, news, daily roundups, photo galleries, playoff analysis, lots of stuff on there. And we have a lot of stuff in the hopper coming this week as well. So head on over and subscribe today at clutchsportsil.com/overtime. Your one-stop shop for everything Central Illinois high school sports. We'll step aside for a quick break here on CSM. Get you to hear more about CSM Overtime and our advertising opportunities as well. We'll come back from the Dottie Hawkins gym for more analysis and the second half of action. Normal Community, the top seed in the Pekin Regional, leads 29-12 at the intermission.
Central Illinois, we're going to overtime. After 4 years of preps coverage in Central Illinois, Clutch Sports Media is ready for a new era. CSM Overtime.
What is CSM Overtime? We're going beyond the broadcast to give you in-depth coverage of your teams,
Your stories.
Your stats and standings.
your highlights and action shots.
With your subscription, you'll get to see news and feature stories from all sports, up-to-date stats from around the area, and thoughtful analysis from our team of experts.
As for our broadcast and social media coverage, it's only getting better.
With your support of Clutch Sports Media Overtime, we'll continue to grow our free broadcast coverage with more sports, more games, and more innovation.
And thanks to our partnership with Too Efficient Media, your social media feeds will be filled with Central Illinois' best sights and sounds.
CSM Overtime will also give you access to full galleries from some of the most talented photographers and videographers in our region.
As the new season approaches, it's time for more.
More action.
More stories.
More coverage of all Central Illinois sports. It's Clutch Sports Media Overtime.
Attention business owners and entrepreneurs. Are you ready to take your brand to the next level? Look no further than Clutch Sports Media, your go-to destination for local high school sports coverage in Central Illinois. Our business has reached almost 1 million total views on YouTube and is connected with an astounding 39,000 accounts on social media, averaging thousands of views with each post. That's 39,000 engaged and passionate sports enthusiasts who love tuning into our content, ready to become your new customer. Clutch Sports Media is offering an exclusive opportunity for local businesses to seize the spotlight. We are opening up prime advertising spaces in our social media posts and live sports broadcasts. Partnering with Clutch Sports Media isn't just about visibility. It's about being part of a community that loves and embraces the spirit of sports. It's about making lasting connections with your target audience. Don't miss out on this winning opportunity. Clutch Sports Media, where Central Illinois plays its biggest games.
And welcome back to Pekin Community High School. Halftime of a Class 4A girls regional semifinal between Normal Community and Normal West. One of the best ways you could open up the playoffs with a rivalry game. Still lots of basketball left to be played. We'll see what the second half brings. But Harvey, let's take a look at all the other action going on again. This is a very packed Monday of girls playoff hoops. Boys action doesn't start until next week. But for right now, the girls are getting started. Let's take a look in Class 4A. The winner of the Pekin Regional will face the winner of the Moline Regional. And again, just looking ahead for both teams. Pekin, obviously the Pekin Regional holds also Minooka and Pekin, who obviously, like we said, will We'll be broadcasting kind of after this. Tip-off time is scheduled for 7:30, although maybe it could be a little ahead of time. We're running ahead of schedule here in Pekin, but that Moline regional, who the winner of this one could either face East Moline United, Moline, Bradley Bourbonnais, or Rock Island. So keep an eye on those games as well. East Moline United and Moline. The Panthers and the Maroons are playing right now at Wharton Fieldhouse. We'll try and see if there's a score update from that game if we can get it. Again, don't want to play a scenario game like, who are we going to face? You just got to focus on the game in front of you. But, again, like we said, Normal Community, hailed by many as a favorite in Class 4A. Normal West trying to stop those hopes and pull off a big upset here in the playoffs.
I mean, Normal Community, the thing with them is that they're battle-tested like they've been in this situation before, both as a top seed and as regional title winners. So whether it's the returning players offering mentorship to the incoming freshmen or the sophomores that are now on varsity playing with the squad, it's really like a lot of it's due to mentorship. It's making sure that new players are getting acclimated with your team as well, making sure that they fit both on the court and off the court, and all of that leads to success on the court.
Certainly, and you talk about, the older players from Normal Community. They have a lot of them. They have 9 seniors on the team. Normal West, they have Olivia Patton and Meredith Birchie. So, again, those are their 2 key players. But, again, lots of, up-and-comers for this Wildcats team for them to keep an eye on the rest of their high school careers. And, again, it's got, 16 minutes or so to play. We'll see what they're made of here in the second half. Good opportunity for, some of these players, like we saw Kylie Wilson, we saw Hope Farrell in the game. These players are freshmen. Avery Dodge, one of their starters, a freshman as well. So, I mean, you're playing these playoff games, and getting good minutes as a freshman. Imagine what that's going to do for you down the road when they're juniors and seniors and they've had, 3-4 years of experience doing this.
Right. It gives them an opportunity to help their teammates get through the playoffs, because while to the fans it may just look like another basketball game, to the players it's something completely different. It's a new experience no matter what year you are or whether you've played in the playoffs before.
Certainly, and we'll take a quick look at all the other scores around Class 4A. Not many scores have come in from the area at the moment. We'll try and update you with some of those later, especially maybe during that Minooka and Pekin game as they roll in. But in Class 4A, looking at it right now, how about this score, Harvey? Alton, one of the top teams in the state, number 2 in Class 4A. They're up on Granite City 52-2 at the half. That is unbelievable. Alton's a team that Normal Community could potentially face in the sectionals if they were to make it that far.
I mean, Alton treating the playoffs like the playoffs. That's all I'll say.
Certainly, they came into play. Some other scores around Class 4A. Geneva handling business against Elk Grove Village 43-6. Palatine Fremd up in the top 10 of Class 4A. They're up 47-16 on Buffalo Grove. Lincolnshire Stevenson up 35-14 on Dundee Crown. And Wabansie Valley, another state-ranked team, they're up 37-24 on Oswego. So the state-ranked teams in Class 4A are handling business. We'll see if Normal Community can do the same or if the Wildcats have another roar left in them. Here's Patton with the ball. She'll drive in on Rustemeyer. Get into the lane. That's exactly what you want to draw up if you're Normal West.
Definitely catching Community off guard just a little bit, and again, getting Patton going early. She has 7 points in this game, but we know she's capable of more.
Ince's 3 rattles out. And there comes Birchie. Good start for West here. If they can score on back-to-back possessions, I think that would start to make it feel like Normal Community's got some heat under them.
I like the decision from Dunn, putting Birchie back into the game with 3 fouls, putting trust in his players, betting on them to succeed.
And, with those seniors especially, they're players that, especially Birchie, that you can trust to keep themselves in the game. Obviously, they're very aware that, I'm sure Birchie she has 3 fouls, so she'll probably adapt her play as needed.
And those fouls also the byproduct of her just playing physical.
Certainly, as Corson drives in on her, kicks it out over to Powers. Lady Iron slowing some things down as Incy fakes the handoff. A Wildcat takes a tumble. Rustemeyer's 3 off the mark. 3-point shooting hasn't been terribly kind to both teams. And Powers nearly saved it for Normal Community. It'll go back to the Wildcats.
I mean, I like the Community wants to stretch the floor a little bit, maybe space out the Normal West defense just a little bit, but they've made bank shooting 2s and getting to the free throw line, so I'm not sure if I would necessarily go away with that, but they may go back to it.
Ball on the floor. Normal West, they got to remember about the 10 seconds. They do. Nice job by Birchie. And Powers again on the defensive end. Doesn't come away with the steal, but just interrupts that flow that Normal West has.
And those are the intangibles you talk about in a basketball player. Stats that don't show up on the box score. That wasn't a steal, but it's still a pass deflection, and that may impact the possession. And it ultimately did, as you see the steal there.
Here's Rustemeyer, and she traveled. Initial reaction when I heard the whistle was, that's a huge and 1, but it's whistled off because of a travel. Lady Iron goes scoreless on their first 2 possessions. And again, here comes that pressure from Community. Birchie gets it over to DeGina Smith.
Looks like they're sending 3 to press, 2 going deep, 1 going closer to the half-court line.
Rebound brought in by Haley Upton. She's in amongst the trees, and she traveled.
And with that, she's in a very tough position. She's under the basket, but not directly under the basket. Not necessarily room to dribble, not necessarily room to pass either. If you pass low, it's going to get blocked. If you pass high, it's going to get blocked.
And a tough spot to shoot from as well. The basket pretty much almost behind your back shoulder from where she was. Here's Powers again. She hasn't had a ton of points, just 1 point to her name today, but she has really made an impact on the defensive end and also passing the ball as well. Ince feeds her in the corner. Now it's Malinowski. Back over to Ince. Corson looked her way, but instead passed it over to Rustemeyer. Now Corson on the drive. She gets a floater up, and her miss is brought in by Avery Dodge. Again, another good look from Community.
And West with the sigh of relief there, as if Corson had not fallen, she would likely have gotten that offensive rebound. But Patton unable to corral that one.
Just a bit out of her reach. Here's Powers off the drive, went straight up and came straight back down. We'll go back to Normal West. Again, they've been getting stops. Now it's just a matter of, can you just get those buckets? In some trouble is Dodge. Tries a wide open Wilson. 3-on-2. We'll see what West does with it. Patton's 3 on the way. Too strong. Dodge momentarily had the board, but then lost it.
I like the way they were able to push the tempo and get that 3-on-2. Hopefully we'll see more of those possessions from the Normal West perspective, as it will likely not be the last time they see that opportunity. And 3s will ultimately get them back in this game faster, but you could argue that layups might be the better shot here.
You want to get some confidence, get some layups going, then maybe start pulling some 3s. Well, you never know. Another turnover. Here's Inch wide open on the fast break. She finished with the left hand and 1. She got fouled by Smith, who can't believe it.
Looked like Smith, rather than trying to go up to block the shot, she tried to swipe low before she got the ball up, but looked like she might have swiped the hand rather than the ball because the shot still went up. A smart decision in practice, but it led to the foul and the and 1 there, as Community continues to build their lead.
Credit Ince for getting that layup to fall, and also credit Smith again. It's an aggressive play. You're down. You want to obviously hold Community to as little points as possible, and if they can not get the shot off in the first place, that will certainly help the cause. But Ince completes the 3-point play. They lead 32-14. If you're head coach Darylyn Dunn right now, Harvey, again, what do you think is the play right now? I mean, I think, at least for me personally, I think the first thing is got to be just trying to figure out a way to break that press.
I mean, they've shown that they're able to break the press just a little bit more often, but sometimes it's just not exactly preventable because you see Normal Community, they're able to cover all of the spots on the floor. They're spacing themselves out that anyone is able to shift over when the ball gets past another defender. It's just they have backup plans for whenever Normal West is able to get past, and that's been shown so far. Normal West scored just one field goal, and that was not after breaking the press. So just finding buckets after they break the press will be important. Again, talking about that 3-on-2. Basketball is a game of numbers.
See what the Wildcats decided to do. That timeout was taken by, I believe, by Community. They have 4 remaining. West has 2 remaining. They try and extend their season for at least another game. Now Community just brings Lester. And there's Malinowski on the double team. She deflected it. And Johnson tried to throw it off of Malinowski's leg, but she stepped out of bounds before she could do so.
Would have been a good momentum booster for Johnson and for her team if she was able to successfully do that. Unfortunately, it was not.
Again, it just shows that even when Community didn't bring that full press, they had that help side defense ready to trap. And it's led to some difficulties for the Wildcats, at least tonight. Here's Powers, kicks it over. Lester open on the wing. Malinowski in the corner. Her 3 ball is no good. Now here comes Dodge again. You can force those missed shots. It allows you to get out in transition maybe just a little bit easier. Can't set up that defense in the half court.
Right, but you also can't. You can't go fast on offense if you can't get the if you can't get those defensive rebounds. If you're giving up the offensive rebounds, they've been better at not giving up offensive rebounds this half, but it's ultimately not really led to anything. And I can see what Normal Community is doing on these plays. They've shot a lot more corner threes this half because you see West running the 2-3 zone, weak on the corners if no one moves over and shifts, but they're unable to get the corner threes to fall.
Here's Farrell in the corner, gets it back to Birchie. Again, playing with 3 fouls. Farrell kicks it down to Johnson. Pass was tipped, though, by Reynolds. And West will inbound it underneath the basket. They send Farrell to the corner. Birchie wheels around, and Corson got a hand on it as well. I mean, just their hands are everywhere. The pockets to find an open pass are just so small for Normal West.
It doesn't even have to be a steal as long as the pass is deflected and it's out of bounds and West has to reset their play.
Another deflection from Corson. If deflections were an official stat, I know a lot of coaches do keep track of them. If they were an official stat, I think that I'm sure someone on Normal Community, maybe Corson, would have a double-double by now. Here's Johnson, a nice drive. Can't finish off the glass. And it will go back to Community after Johnson tried to poke it away.
Johnson was almost able to get the rebound over 4 white jerseys, was unable to. That's an aggressive drive. I'd like to see that more from her through the rest of this game, regardless of how it goes.
Now West brings a little bit of a press of their own. Corson dribbles past it. Here's a kick out. Ince in the corner for 3. Off the mark. Opportunity for West to run. They had an advantage for a second. 3 ball on the way from Olivia Coble. Good shot. Just couldn't find the bottom of the net. Here's Ince. 1-on-3. Draws contact. That'll be a foul on Journey Johnson. Boy, she's had a lot of close calls. She's had the right idea, just not quite enough to get away without the foul.
And you can't say that she hasn't been trying this game. The freshman giving all her effort in what could be a season ender, but not a high school career ender for her, assuming she continues to play for Normal West.
Certainly not again. You know, we mentioned just 2 seniors on West. But, the freshmen, again, listed them off during halftime. Hope Farrell, Kylie Wilson, Journey Johnson, Avery Dodge. Also have Peyton Harmon and Annika Rissinger as well. So that's 6 freshmen that are getting valuable varsity minutes. And I think that, obviously experience is a big advantage, especially in the playoffs. As Corson, another deflection. That's 3 for her in just the last minute. But
I mean, giving freshmen heavy minutes in these games, it just shows that Darylyn Dunn trusts his team and his players to perform when they need to perform, and that's always a great thing.
Here's Wilson inbound. West got off to a pretty good start offensively. Since then, Lady Iron defense has just ramped up significantly. Made things really tough for them to establish any sort of flow. Foul goes on Amia Lester. That's her 3rd for Community, and also the team's 3rd of the 3rd quarter as well.
We're seeing West be a lot more disciplined with the fouls, and what it's led to is a decrease in scoring from Community, but that means nothing if you're unable to create baskets on your end.
Under the basket, Patton got fouled. Would have been a big and 1 if she could have converted. She'll get 2 more at the line.
Patton able to outposition her on that one. She kind of was able to have the defender at her back and put that one up. Unfortunately, unable to go. She's able to knock down the free throws. It'll ultimately be a good offensive possession.
Patton got the first. She's up to 8. Second one is off the mark. There's an offensive board from Haley Upton, but had it taken away. Inch with some speed, or rather that's Corson up off the glass. Nice Euro step.
I like that. Able to change directions with lightning speed there. And that's able to show that she's able to go from fast to slow at the same time. Like, she was able to get her defenders to jump there. That just shows that she has the fundamentals, but knows a bit of flair and finesse as well.
She got up the court so fast, I thought we were looking at Ince, the track star, who, if I'm not mistaken, I believe I saw on Twitter. I know some people call it X. I still call it Twitter. I'm a traditionalist. I believe I saw that she ran one of the fastest miles in Illinois high school history recently. So once basketball season wraps up, she will be an absolute stud on the track for the Lady Iron in the coming spring. Free throw is good from Kylie Wilson. She's got 3 points on the afternoon, or I should say evening. Takeaway there from Patton. Gives it up to Birchie. She'll step into a 3. Can't quite get the favorable bounce. Offensive board and the putback. Again, Kylie Wilson.
And Wilson, the 5'4" guard, getting the offensive rebound there. That shows that you don't necessarily have to be tall to get the offensive rebounds. You just have to want it.
A lot of it's about positioning and boxing now, both of which she did well there. Now you see Darylyn Dunn trying to create some traps, some double teams. And there it goes. Birchie gets a steal. 3-on-2 break for Normal West. She'll drive up against Ince, turn around and shoot off the mark, and it goes off of Johnson's head and out of bounds. I really like this intensity from Normal West.
That's a good heads-up play from Birchie, almost kind of mimicking what Community was able to do in that second quarter and for a bit of the third quarter as well. Ultimately, you're still down by 18, and you want to get a bucket after that defensive play, and being unable to is heartbreaking.
Powers finds Ince. She'll drive in, kicks it out to Malinowski. Well, Community going to be pretty patient here. Probably looks like they're going to hold for their last shot. Again, there's that pressure from the Wildcats. Trap coming from Wilson, and she fouled Ince there, although she won't be shooting. It'll just the third foul of the quarter for the Wildcats. 12.7 on the clock. Corson finds Reynolds, high post. Now with 5. Corson finds Reynolds, shot fake driving in, and a foul with less than a second on Patton. That will send Reynolds to the line to try and close out the quarter with some points.
Reynolds using the post moves to get past Patton there. And Patton almost had that block there. Ultimately, the officials have a better eye of the court than we do.
Patton's certainly a shot blocker as well. She does it all for Normal West, and certainly what a great career that she has had. Is Reynolds' first free throw. Rims are a little grouchy again after they were a little bit nicer, at least for Normal Community, in the second and third quarters. Second one is good. Reynolds up to 8 points. And that will do it for the third. Community still in prime position to hang on against Normal West, but do the Wildcats have one last fight left in them? We'll see in the final frame. And again, I want to remind you that if you want to advertise with us on Clutch Sports Media, help grow your brand, or maybe even you know someone that wants to grow their brand, reach out to us, clutchsportsil@gmail.com. For more information, we have opportunities and packages that fit any budget. Trust us, if you have advertised for the big game yesterday, it probably doesn't fit every budget, but with Clutch Sports Media, you certainly can. Reach out to us, again, clutchsportsil@gmail.com, to reach a larger audience in the Peoria and Bloomington Normal areas, and even beyond as well.
I mean, hey, you never know. You don't have to be a large company in order to make a funny and entertaining commercial.
No, or even just, we have ad reads available as well. Again, it's all not always about those big businesses, although if you do have a big one, we're certainly love to partner with you, but also about lots of great small businesses in the area as well. As we get started with the fourth quarter, Normal West scored 8 in the first 8 minutes. Since then, they have been outscored 25-10. A very strong defensive showing from Normal Community, who won the regional title last year over Minooka 60-52, and Minooka playing again in the nightcap that we'll have right here on Clutch Sports Media tonight, Minooka and Pekin. So possibility of a regional title rematch. As
And
3 ball is no good for Malinowski.
Sorry there. The Minooka team is actually here. I saw them in the bleachers walking to the locker room, getting prepared for that next game.
Great read from Powers, stealing it right out of midair, and she finishes the layup. She has been all over the place on defense. Certainly the defensive MVP, I would say, for the Iron today.
Definitely, and that is Powers' first made field goal of the game. She did make a free throw earlier on, but that just shows that you can have an impact beyond the offensive side of the ball.
West in some trouble in the corner, and it results in another turnover. That's been a trouble spot for them today. Here's Reynolds, one dribble and gets fouled. She'll shoot 2 more and try to add on that Lady Iron lead.
Reynolds drawing a lot of fouls in this game, especially in that last quarter, drawing the foul with less than a second left, able to knock down a free throw, extending the lead. We'll see if she can do that once more.
First one is off the mark. Look at Community has scored. Olivia Corson's got 13. She really got things going for Normal Community. Had double digits by the 5:48 mark of the second quarter. Since then, it's been a lot of Allie Ince, a lot of Raina Powers, and Reynolds as well, as she gets the second one to fall as she's up to 9.
And what's great about someone like Corson is, yes, obviously she can score the ball. Everyone knows it. We know it. She knows it. But when you're able to make your teammates better and get them involved and give them scoring opportunities as well, that just makes you even better. That makes you exponentially better than anyone who can only score.
And a backcourt turnover from Community. It was a good steal from Coble. And just missed the handoff there with Smith. They'll give it back to the Lady Iron. Reynolds wide open in the high post, says, why not? and shows why she can shoot it. 42-18, the Lady Iron lead. It's looking pretty good for their hopes of moving on to a regional championship back here on Thursday. Corson's pass taken away by Patton.
Patton's going to take it herself, looking to go coast to coast, and she nearly does.
Bonnie's hit the deck. 3-ball on the way from Coble, and it's short.
I think that one might have gotten tipped just a bit.
Corson kicks it over, or rather, it's over to Corson. 3-ball's no good. I believe we've only seen, I think, one 3-pointer in the game. Back in the first half for Normal Community. Foul on Allie Ince, that's her third. Or rather, no, Corson, that's her third.
Well, obviously, today's basketball 3-point shots becoming a more important part of the game than ever. But if you're able to get those buckets inside and work the ball inside and knock down those free throws as well, you don't necessarily need to rely on the 3-point shot to win basketball games.
You certainly don't. Those high percentage looks near the bucket are always good to have. Even some mid-ranges like Reynolds just did on the last possession. Sort of a lost start, but very effective. And Malinowski, there's a 3-ball. That's her first bucket of the game. Lady Iron's lead is reaching the doorstep of running clock territory.
Everyone likes to talk about the announcer's curse, but that was the exact opposite, talking about how they had not gotten a 3 in a while, almost like the announcer's gift.
Well, I'll tell you, those don't happen often. Usually it's a jinx, a curse, whatever you want to call it. Birchie, a nice drive, gets her own miss, and she'll head to the line for 2 free throws. Hasn't been the night that Birchie's won. She's still looking for her first points, but good opportunity to do so here at the stripe.
I mean, a lot of the times when West has been able to break the press, it has been because of Birchie, whether she's been able to get into space to receive a pass or making the pass of her own. Her presence has definitely been felt, and her teammates definitely appreciate her.
First one was good, so Birchie's got her first point. We'll look to make it 2, and she does. A good stroke that will get Normal West up to 20, but again, just ran into an absolute stonewall of the Normal Community defense. Foul goes on Avery Dodge. And again, if you're a Normal Community or you're a Lady Iron fan, I gotta feel really good about this defensive performance, because it's showings like these that can really take you far into the playoffs. Nice cut from Malinowski, but stolen away by the Wildcats.
And they've been able to improve on defense throughout the entirety of this game. Obviously, they started out with solid defense, forcing the turnovers, but over the course of the game, they've managed to improve. Obviously, 8 of Normal West 20 points came in that first quarter, but Community able to lock in, just somehow to get even better. And that's a matter of energy, stamina, and just who wants it more in general. But also remember, the Community, a much more experienced team, given their roster makeup, made I think entirely of juniors and seniors.
Boy, that is something else. And 9, Community carries a big team. They have 9 seniors and got kind of how many juniors? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you have an experienced group this year. You're bringing still 7 juniors back next year, including Marco Reynolds and Raina Powers as well. So those will certainly be players to keep an eye on. But those seniors, they know that they can make this a very special run to close out their high school career. Players like Corson and Ince, Rustemeyer. Also, Gianna Rawlings, who we haven't seen. I don't know she's in uniform tonight. She took the Normal Community program record for 3-pointers recently as well. So she's been a big spot for the Orange and White as Normal West calls their 4th timeout of the game.
And for Normal West, I think this is obviously, again, another cliche, but this is time for learning for them. This is just for players to gain experience in hopes that they're able to go further in the playoffs in the years to come. I think this is just a stepping stone for the program. Obviously, you're talking about the scores from around the area earlier. This is much closer than some of the other games that have been happening. Obviously, first round of the playoffs, not always expected to be the closest games, but West able to keep it close through at least a quarter and a half, and that's something to be proud of if you can find a silver lining.
Certainly, again, it hasn't been a bad game by Normal West by any means whatsoever. And you're facing the number 6 team in the state in Class 4A. This isn't just any team that you're facing. So, again, really like the fight that you're seeing from the Wildcats. And, again, lots of good things to look forward to from them going forward. Some quick score updates while we have a moment. Bloomington, maybe of interest to those of you who root for the Twin Cities, they opened up as a number 2 seed in the Morris Regional, but they find themselves trailing to the regional host Morris 44-28 at the end of the third quarter. So Purple Raiders are on thin ice heading into the fourth and final quarter. In Class 1A action, Illini Bluffs wins 60-25 over Mendon Unity. Tigers are state ranked, looking for a big postseason run. And Peoria Heights leading Roanoke Benson 36-22 at halftime, also in Class 1A as well. Lots of teams around the area, Harvey, are looking for deep postseason runs. And, I mean, this has just been such a very good year in girls basketball in Central Illinois. I mean, Community is playing great. P&D has just been lights out. Peoria High, very good. And you look at the middle line, you have Morton and Washington have been very strong. Heart of Illinois has had some great teams. They got Illini Bluffs, Peoria Heights. I mean, the list just goes on and on. I mean, there is lots and lots of teams who, looking right now, you say, hey, I think that team can make it to state.
I mean, it's a growing sport. Obviously, basketball been around for so long, but especially with girls, more and more are getting into it at a younger age, starting at the lower levels and playing at the higher levels, and that can only be good for everyone. But you're saying with teams a lot of aspirations to make a deep playoff run, and many of them will, but there can only be one winner. So there will ultimately be more heartbreak than triumph.
And that's the unfortunate.
But that's how basketball goes.
That's the unfortunate part of it. Only a lucky few get to end their high school careers with a win. Normal Community, though, showing today that they're a group that can do that, as Ince makes her first free throw. She's got 12. Corson's got 13. She's on the bench. I would be surprised to see her play at all the rest of this one. Marco Reynolds also in double figures with 11. As Ince's second rolls around and out. Rebound brought in by Camry Fisher, a junior. Lester, she'll dial up a three right on target. Lester's first points of the game. And what do you know? Another tipped ball. Brought up by Smith. Trapped in the corner, and a foul on a Community. It's always so tough to get trapped in those corners, and every time the ball goes there, Lydia Iron have just been all over it, and there's not many options when you are in that corner.
No, definitely not. I mean, you're running out of real estate. You can't take any steps because then you'll be called for a travel. Honestly, the best case scenario is that you hope you get fouled, because a pass out of that just isn't always feasible and can lead to a turnover and a fast break and an easy bucket.
Ince crosses up a defender. Layup was altered. Here's Rustemeyer, and it's no good. Patton goes the other way. Gathers it. Looking to find someone. She finds her senior teammate, Birchie. Her three is off to the right. As here's Burke. Now Birchie goes the other way. And good floater there from the senior. She's got 4. Probably ultimately going to be too little too late, though, for Normal West. Community looks like they will hang on to beat the Wildcats for a 3rd time this season. And, you know, like they always say, it's hard to beat a team 3 times. But Lady Iron looks like they're going to do so. But, yeah, it looks, you know, parts of that first half looked like, hey, this really could go anyone's way. Normal West was just, they were right in it for the first 10 to 15 minutes or so of that game.
Definitely, and that just shows that you have to continue to play hard through all quarters. Obviously, it's easy to start out the game at high energy because you haven't used any of it, but as the game goes on, it just depends on whether you get a bit too comfortable or too complacent. And maybe Normal West, maybe they weren't expecting to be so close. They might have got a little too overconfident, but as the timeout gets called here, it's like it's going to be in the direction of Normal Community.
It's community ball there, as we got a line change from both teams. Meredith Birchie and Olivia Patton got their curtain call. Now watch the rest of this one as their substitutions come in. What a fantastic high school career from both seniors. You know that they're just such a big part of that team. You know, being, you know, two seniors on a team that is littered with freshmen and sophomores and juniors. Their role this season, both on the court and in practice, was immeasurable. As Johnson's free throw is good. And her second is good as well. So we'll get to see a little bit of the future for both teams here. Armani Connor into the game, kicks it out. 3 ball from Meadow Bronchi, just missed. Now a minute to play. Here's Johnson speeding up the court, driving in. And we'll get a charge drawn by the Lady Iron. That one was Sophie Barlow, a senior guard. And the Lady Iron bench loves that.
That just shows that every player on this community team has the heart and could also be trusted no matter when or where. As we see the final minute of this game tick down, maybe a bit of a bittersweet ending for Normal West, as it does mean they will have to look ahead to next season, but you'll see some players who are returning who will be taking the reins. In particular, I'm looking at Dodge and Johnson, who have had good games overall in terms of the way they've played. Maybe not necessarily showing up on the box score, but they've been playing well on both sides for their team.
They certainly have. Again, you know, Kylie Wilson had that nice little stretch there in the 3rd quarter. She's got 5 to lead all of Normal West freshmen here today. Olivia Patton there leading scorer right now with 8. As here's Sermira Brown, a sophomore into the game. She kicks it over Coble. Now back to Johnson with 10 on the clock. Her floater is just a bit short. Gets the roll and miss and puts it right back in. Love to see that effort even in the waning seconds. But that will do it from Pekin. Normal Community marches on into the regional title game. They defeat crosstown rival Normal West 49-26 and move to 29-3 on the year. It's the end of the road for the Wildcats at 10-19, but gotta love the fight that they showed here today.
Definitely. For Normal West, as you said, they stayed with it in the first quarter, but they just fell a little bit behind, mainly due to Community just able to deflect so many of their passes, stalling a lot of their offensive possessions, making them reset at the top of the key, and definitely testing Darylyn Dunn's play calling, but he was able to stay steadfast in the face of Normal Community. But ultimately, they still come away with the win. And what I like from Normal Community is that they didn't only rely on players like Ince or Corson to do the majority of the scoring load. Obviously, they did lead their team in scoring, but you saw Corson went a bit quiet in the second half, opting to get her teammates involved, again, making her teammates better, taking on a bit of a leadership role. And that'll be important as the playoffs progress. And I'm eager to see Community's progress and how they fare this season.
Certainly, and they will face either the winner of Minooka and Pekin coming up right here on Clutch Sports Media. And when scheduled to tip off at about 7:30 or so, both teams are in the building ready to take the floor. And that will about do it from the first of two regional semis from Pekin. Normal Community wins it over Normal West. A congratulations to the Wildcats on a solid season with lots of youth on their team. Big things coming up for Darylyn Dunn and the Wildcats. That'll about wrap it up for this broadcast. We'll step aside for a quick minute. You can refresh your browsers. We'll get the next broadcast up on our website, also on our YouTube channel as well. But don't go anywhere. 4-seed Minooka versus 5-seed Pekin coming right up in just about 15 minutes on Clutch Sports Media. Don't go anywhere, folks. Stay tuned.